Hello, let me check once if my streaming is working or not. Just a second. Yeah, it's working. So hello and welcome to Diksha Karnataka. Hello sweet commenter. Hello Akshay. Now if you are here to study, you should stay in the channel. If you are not here to study, if you are here for someone's Instagram ID or something else, please go to somewhere else. I will start blocking those who are here commenting not related to the topic that we are being studied, because the exam that students are going to appear day after tomorrow, which is very, very important for their career. So if you are someone who is hampering that, I will not hesitate to block you from the channel, because maybe you are your exams are over, your JEE exams are over, you are here just to time pass. That I will not allow. First, this is very strict warning for all of you. I have seen many of you are doing something in Ekta ma'am's class. I started blocking some of you. I will keep blocking you. If you are here for Instagram ID, go to some other channel, not here. Okay, be very, very clear about it. I am here only to teach, and I will only focus on teaching. Okay, so today we are going to discuss very, very important questions from your exam, obviously. And today's session is important because we not only have questions from various chapters, various topics, but also we have questions based on some of your lab experiments, and some of your PU1 chapters are also included. But while compiling this, there are some issue happened. So the question number, don't go by the question number. First few questions are in order, but later on the question number can change. So don't put too much focus on question number. Try to answer the question as it is coming to your way. Okay, I hope that is clear. You can good evening sir. If we get 35 plus right in this PDF, how much we'll expect direction in the main KCET? So if you score 35 now, you should expect at least 30 in the KCET. Okay, so 5 marks you should deduct. So you should score 60 in this paper, then only you will be able to score 50 plus in KCET. Right? Let's start with the first question. Two equal and opposite charges of masses m1 and m2 are accelerated in uniform electric field through the same distance. What is the ratio of their accelerations if their ratio of masses is m1 by m2 equals to 0.5? Okay, so ratio of the mass is given. They asking you what is the ratio of their acceleration. Now how to solve such questions may be appearing little tricky, but do not fret, because the problem is about equal and opposite charges. So the charges are equal and opposite. So if one is accelerating in one direction, another one is accelerated in the opposite direction. But here if you see the options, basically we have to take the magnitude. So forces are charges are same, so force should be same. Okay, force should be same, which is given by F is equal to, I don't know what happened here. Yeah, F is equal to Q into E. Okay, force equals to Q into E. Now Q is constant, E is constant, and so this force acting on each masses will be same, and that is equals to M1 A1, and that will also be equals to M2 A2. So what is the ratio of M? So if you divide both, you will get M1 A1 by M1 A1 by M2 A2 is basically 1. Okay, so that is the basic understanding of this question. So A1 by A2 equals to M2 by M1. Okay, so what is M2 by A2? So that should be 1 by 0.5, that is equals to 2. So the ratio of their acceleration will be 2. So option A is the correct answer. Yes, A is correct. Sir, from zero preparation by watching only this, how many marks you can score? 20 to 25. Sarthak, sorry, Syed. they are accelerated through the same distance. Does that mean that their final kinetic energies will be identical even though their masses and accelerations are different? Yes, their kinetic energies will be different because no, kinetic energies will not be different. Kinetic energies will be same. Why the kinetic energy will be same? Because kinetic energy is basically work done. So work done is force into displacement. Now force is constant, displacement is same, so kinetic energy will be same, but velocities will be different. They have not asking you about velocity, they are asking you about acceleration, because force is constant, acceleration will be constant in this case. So that's why you do not need to consider work done or kinetic energy. If they ask you about momentum, or momentum will be different, kinetic energy will be same, because masses are different, momentum will be different, velocities will be different, but kinetic energy will be same. Okay, kinetic energy is force into displacement. Clear? PYQs video. Yes, master final revision. We are solving some questions before the exam day. We'll be doing another revision. Okay, and I believe that revision is better when you are solving question. At this stage, doing theory revision may be helpful, may not be helpful, but solving questions, if you are able to solve some questions, that will boost your confidence. If a charge on the body is 1 nanocoulomb, then how many electrons are present in the body? Now for that you have to remember a shortcut trick, that for 1 coulomb charge, the number of charges, number of charge particles or number of electrons or lack of that is actually 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18. For 1 coulomb charge, the difference is 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18 for 1 coulomb. For 1 nanocoulomb, nanocoulomb means 10 to the power of minus 9 and 1 is there, so just multiply that. 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18, that is 6.25 into 10 to the power of 8. Sorry, not 8, 10 to the power of 9. So correct answer is option D. Now this is very handy if you remember this. Sometimes instead of 1 nanocoulomb, if they ask 10 coulomb, 5 coulomb, 6 coulomb, so anywhere you can use this factor. Okay, except there is an exception to this rule. If they give you a value, say 3.2, 4.8, okay, 6.4, so these vectors are directly divisible by 1.6. In that case you can use your old rule, that is 3.2, suppose 3.2 coulomb, 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. So in this case this is much faster. Otherwise if it is a whole number, then you should use this method, that is much faster. Okay, otherwise you have to find what is 1 by 1.6.5 or what is 5 by 1.65. You will start thinking that, but if you do the multiplication, that is much easier. Okay, so this is the much simpler for when the factor is of the order of 1.6. If the factor is not of the order of 1.6, use this conversion ratio. Okay, this way you will be solving questions faster. So tricks and tips I will be sharing throughout the lecture. 2 spheres carrying charges plus 6 microcoulomb and plus 9 microcoulomb separated by a distance d. I am scoring 40 in tough mock tests. At base I want to boost 50 plus. Also your questions are easier and making me feel confident enough. Amog, that is good. Amog, if you are scoring 40 in tough paper, then you should at least hope 50 plus in your exam. But remember that in KCET also there will be some tough questions. You should not waste too much time on those tough questions. You should at least first solve the easier questions, then you move on to the tough questions. Okay, that should be your basic strategy, because many students I have seen, because they are coming from JEE practice, they try to solve difficult questions. They are able to solve it, but that takes a lot of time. So don't waste too much time, because this is basically time game. Your KCET exam is mainly time game. So if you are able to manage time, you should be in a good situation. Two spheres carrying charges plus 6 microcoulomb and plus 9 microcoulomb separated by a distance d experience a force of repulsion F. When a charge minus 3 microcoulomb is given to both the sphere and kept at the same distance as before, the new force of repulsion. So initially the force is proportional to Q1 Q2, so that is 6 into 9. Ignore the microcoulomb and the constant terms, we just need to find the factor. So this is the initial force. The final force is proportional to 6 minus 3 into 9 minus 3, because you have given minus 3 microcoulomb to both of them. So the new charges will be reduced by 3 for both of them. So the new force will be 3 into 6. Now F dash by F is actually 18 by 6 into 9. So 2, 3. So F dash will be 1/3 of F. F dash will be 1/3 of F. So correct answer again option D. Okay, yes. I see many of you have answered. Sir, I got 105 in full mock test. Is it okay? Harsh, remember in KCET there is no full mock test. You have to appear for the test individually. So if you are appearing full mock test, it is good for COMEDK preparation, but that is not okay. Okay, you have to score 140 at least, around 140. That is a very good marks for KCET exam. Out of 180, 140. Okay, so that should be your minimum target to get a rank, good rank. Okay, 105 will give you a rank beyond 50,000, 1 lakh range. Pick out the statement which is incorrect. The electric field lines forms closed loop. So you have to find the incorrect statement. Electric field lines forms closed loop. Field lines never intersect. The tangent drawn to a line of a force represents the direction of electric field. A negative test charge experiences a force opposite to the direction of the field. So this is correct. This is correct. This is also correct, but electric field lines never form closed loop. It is actually magnetic field which forms closed loop. So this is incorrect statement. This statement is incorrect. So A is correct. Yes, perfect. Perfect. I can see most of you, Chandana, Rizwan, Suvarna, most of you have Tulshi, all of you have answered. Dignath, Dignath. Okay, Dignath, what you should do? You should practice more. Practice more, manage your time, identify difficult questions, avoid those, do not miss the easy questions. That should be your basic strategy. Basic strategy is same for everyone. Okay, practice more questions, boost your confidence, and then in the exam, don't waste time on a difficult question. Basically, the practice that you are doing is not how quickly, how well you are doing. Basically, you have to identify the difficult questions and avoid those difficult questions in the exam. So that's how you should improve your score, because if you waste time on difficult question, you will not be able to get good marks. The angle between dipole moment and electric field at any point on equatorial plane. So angle between electric field and dipole moment on equatorial plane is 180 degrees. So the angle is the angle will be 180 degrees. Okay, next, a spherical conductor of radius 2 cm is uniformly charged with 3 nanocoulomb. What is the electric field at a distance of 3 cm from the sphere? Okay, so spherical shell of conductor of radius 2 cm is uniformly charged with 3 nanocoulomb. What is the electric field at a distance 3 cm? So uniformly charged sphere, radius is 2 cm, and you are trying to find the electric field at 3 cm, right? Total charge is given 3 nanocoulomb. Now remember that the distance here is greater than radius of the sphere, so we can apply the electric field is given by KQ upon R square. K is 9 into 10 to the power of 9, Q is 3 into 10 to the power of minus 9 divided by R square. R square is basically 3 centimeter. So 3 centimeter means you have, don't forget to convert centimeter into meter. So these are the areas where you are making mistakes. So if you are improving, if you want to improve on your score, definitely you have to improve on mistakes that you are making. So avoid the mistakes that you are doing right now. That is a way to improve your score as well. So it will be 3 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per coulomb or volt per meter. Here volt per meter is given, so we will take volt per meter. Okay, now after your KCET exams are over, if you have not done any, if you want to have another opportunity for your future, so that is the COMEDK exam. I know many of you have filled up the form for COMEDK, but right now you are so focused on your KCET exam that you are not thinking about COMEDK exam. So that's why we are bringing you a 10-day crash course, COMEDK 10. The crash course classes will start from 27th of April, so that you can relax a bit after your KCET exams are over. And here you will get complete PYQ based revision of 11th and 12th. You will get 5 full length mock tests, top 100 most expected MCQs. Here you will also get a lot of live classes in app. Okay, and you can see the result of our last year's COMEDK crash course. This is the first crash course that we launched last year. Apart from ABHYAS test series, we also had COMEDK crash course. So COMEDK crash course is the first crash course that we have launched, and it is only within 10 days, and we make sure that we will prepare you for COMEDK exam. So definitely you should consider the price for this course is only 1499. Okay, the registration is going on, so if you really want to have an opportunity after your KCET exams are over, definitely you should consider COMEDK 10. Okay, now let's move on to question number 7. So what is the nature of Gaussian surface involved in Gauss's law of electrostatic? Okay, what is the nature means? What is the nature means? What is the type of surface it is? Is it magnetic surface? Is it a scalar surface? Is it a vector surface? Or is it an electrical surface? In Gauss's law, we have a imaginary surface, right? Suppose some charges are here. So what is the nature of this surface? So if you remember Gauss's law, that we write phi equals to q upon epsilon naught, or what is phi? Phi is equal to close integral E dot ds is equal to q upon epsilon naught. So this ds is the surface, this is the surface, and as you can see here is a vector sign. So a surface is always a vector quantity, and for a surface it is to be vector. The direction of vector is along the perpendicular to the surface itself. Okay, so if you draw a tangent, the surface vector will always point in the perpendicular direction. Okay, so it is a vector surface. Gaussian surface is a vector surface. Be it electrostatics, be it magnetostatics, the surface involved in Gauss's law is always scalar vector. Guys, stop spamming. I will read from time to time. So this from the session, can we score 30 by 60? Yes, Jayant. I hope that if you are really paying attention to the lecture rather than asking question, you should be able to score. Okay, so those who are asking how many questions, how many marks I can get, pay attention to the class first. I will answer your queries later after the class is over. Okay, for now pay attention, learn from the class, then I will answer the questions later on. Right now I will not be answering anyone who is saying how many marks I will be able to score, what is the duration. Pay attention now. You have a lot of time now. Pay attention in the class so that you can improve your chances. Okay, don't think about how many marks I will be able to score. I will answer those questions after the lecture is over. Two metal spheres of radii 0.1 meter and 0.02 meter are given a charge of 15 millicoulomb and 45 millicoulomb respectively. They are then connected by a wire. The final charge of the first sphere is. So here do not think, so here we have a sphere of radius 0.1 meter and we have a sphere of 0.02 meter. 02 means 0.02 is obviously smaller than 0.01. Now don't think, suppose I give some charge to this, some charge to this, so maybe the final charge will be Q1 plus Q2 by 2. No, this is only applicable if the spheres are identical, if they have the same size, okay? But here the spheres are not identical, they are not of same size. That means the charges will not exchange by equal amount, but charges will exchange till they reach same potential. So whatever potential was there, so they will exchange the charges such that they reach same potential. So after the exchange of the charges, suppose the charge on the first sphere is Q1, charge on the second sphere is Q2. Okay, initial charges, initial values are only required to understand conservation of charges, that is Q1 plus Q2 is actually 15 plus 45. Other than that, you don't need to use any initial values. So 60 millicoulomb is the total charge. So that is only information we require from the initial part. Final part is more important because at this stage both spheres have same potential. What is the meaning of potential? Potential is K Q by R. On the surface, okay, on the surface they should have same potential so that they stop exchanging the charges, and that should be same for sphere number 1 and that should be same for sphere number 2 as well. Okay, so this is the formula that we are going to use. So this is something different, a completely new question. Okay, you might be thinking that adding and dividing by 2 should give me the answer. Actually no. So Q1 is obviously Q1 by 0.1 equals to Q2 by 0.02. So Q2, let's find Q2. Q2 equals to Q1 by 0.1 into 0.02, which is 0.2 Q1. Okay, so Q2 we have calculated. Now come back to our original equation and put this value of Q2 in this equation. Okay, so Q1 plus 0.2 Q1 equals to 60, that is 1.2 Q1 equals to 60, or Q1 equals to 60 divided by 60 divided by 1.2, that is 50 coulomb. So the millicoulomb, sorry, 50 millicoulomb. So the charge on the first sphere will be 50 millicoulomb and charge on the smaller sphere will be 10 millicoulomb. So because they are asking 50 here, so it will be 50 should be the answer. 50 millicoulomb, milli is covered here. So correct answer is 50. So do not add and divide by 2 because this is not that question. Not yes, A. No, questions, bunny questions generally do not get repeated, exact question do not get repeated, but yes, concept get repeated every year. Okay, concepts are important, idea how to solve a question is important, but exact same question do not repeat. Even by changing the value also do not repeat. But yes, concepts do repeat. A charge of 6.75 micro, for example, just one thing that quantization of charge, that concept repeats almost many times in the past few years, but exact same question sometimes they ask 3.2, sometimes they ask 1 nanocoulomb, sometimes they ask excess number of electrons, what is the charge. So that kind of questions will come, but exactly same questions will not come. A charge of 6.75 microcoulomb in an electric field is acted upon by a force of 2.5 Newton. The potential gradient at this point. Potential gradient means, potential gradient is nothing but actually electric field is dV by dx, minus sign if you ignore. So this is the potential gradient. Potential gradient means we just need to find electric field. It is not a new quantity. Okay, charge is given, force is given, so we need to find electric field. So force is given by Q into E. So E equals to F by Q. Force is 2.5 and the charge is 6.75. Okay, so if you cancel, you will get 625 plus 50, so it will be 27. So 1 by 27, and the charge was microcoulomb, so micro means 10 to the power of minus 6. So it will be 10 to the power of 6 by 27. If you take 100 by 27 into 10 to the power of 4, this quantity is given in the question, which will be 3.71, okay, into 10 to the power of 4. So if you see, all the options have same value. Okay, sorry, if you take this will be 2.7, my mistake, 2.7, so it will be 10 to the power of 6 by 2.7, so it will be 10 by 2.7 into 10 to the power of 5. Okay, so this quantity is given, which is 3.71. You don't need to calculate, okay, don't need to calculate over time, just figure out the actual value which is greater than 1. So if you take 1 by 2.7, that is less than 1. 10 by 2.7, definitely greater than 1, so leave it there only, do not add extra zeros. So you will realize the correct answer is this one. Okay, so this is the trick that you have to, a smart trick that you have to apply during the exam. Two free protons are separated by a distance of 2 angstrom. If one proton is kept stationary and other proton is released, the kinetic energy of the second proton when it is at infinite distance of separation. Sir, is potential gradient always equal to the electric field magnitude, or does that only hold true if the field is uniform? It is only if it is, potential gradient is always equal to electric field, but if electric field is not uniform, you cannot apply the formula that I have used for the second portion. So this is always true. This is always true. Okay, if it is uniform or non-uniform, so you can, if the electric field is uniform, potential gradient will vary. Potential gradient itself is not constant. This is always correct, but the formula, the subsequent formula that we have written is only valid if electric field is uniform. Okay, so this formula you cannot write if the electric field is not uniform. Then you have to take dE, integrate it, so that will be very long process. Okay, potential gradient equals to dV by dx, that is true for everywhere. Even if the V is varying, X is varying, so the value itself will change, right? Now, so two protons, okay, are separated by a distance of 2 angstrom. What is the charge of a proton? 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. Okay, for convenience, let's write it E. This is also E. Now, when they are at 2 angstrom, what is the potential energy of the system? So, potential energy of the system is K, Q1, Q2 by R. Okay, so this is the potential energy. No R square, only R. When they are at infinite distance, what is the potential energy? At infinity, we know that potential energy becomes 0. So basically they are asking you, the language of the question is that find the potential energy of this system. Whatever is the potential energy of this system at this stage, that should be the kinetic energy when the proton moves to infinity. Okay, so potential energy will be converted completely into kinetic energy at infinity. So that means, so you basically they are asking you what is the potential energy of this system of charges. So 9 into 10 to the power of 9 into Q1 is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. Both charges are same, divided by 2 angstrom. Angstrom means 10 to the power of minus 10. Okay, now major thing is you have to simplify this. Simplifying how you can simplify 16 into 16 is 256. So 1.6 into 1.6 is 2.5. So 9 into 2.56 divided by 2 into 10 to the power of this and this will cancel. You will get 10 to the power of minus 19. Okay, now you have to simplify this. Okay, so you can say that it will be 1.28. 1.28 is 9 plus 1.8. Take 2, so it will be approximately 11 into 10 to the power of minus 19. Okay, it will be 11 into 10 to the power of minus 19. So you will get this is as your answer. So how I multiplied this? Just remember 9 into 1.28 means, first of all, 9 into 1 is 9. 9 into 0.2, 9 into 0.2 is 1.8. So basically you need to add that 1.8. Now for simplification, instead of 1.8 I have taken 2, so the answer is 11. Okay, so this is how you should fast your calculations. Calculation improvement is very much requirement of KCET exam. Okay, so let's see how many of you have answered this correctly. Okay, even though most questions students answer correct, but the total answer is not correct. Yes, I told you, Nalin's Sarif, you can use Q is equal to NE, but that method for arbitrary charges, the method I showed is fastest, quicker. That is the shortcut method. For if the charge itself is a multiplier of 1.6, then Q is equal to NE is the one of the fastest method. Okay. Otherwise, the method I shown for arbitrary charge means 1 coulomb, 2 coulomb, 3 coulomb, 5 coulomb, 10 coulomb. You can use the method I have shown. If it is 1.6, 3.2, 4.8, 6.4, in that case, the Q is equal to any method is easier. Work done in carrying an electron from point A to point B in an electric field is 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules. The potential difference VB minus VA is. So work done in carrying electron from point A to point B is this. Okay, so work done is given, potential difference. So what is work done? Work done is Q into difference in potential. So potential difference is work done divided by charge. Okay, so work done is 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 18 joules. Okay, and electrons, charge of an electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. So it will be 2, and that is 20 volt. Okay, minus 18 minus 19, so it will be 20 volt. So if you see, all the options are so drastic, there is no match between them. So if you are clever, you will be able to answer such questions. Okay, next. Yes, Choco Chip, they do ask straightforward questions. Okay, there will be 20 questions straightforward, direct, formula based, concept based, direct concept based. Which of the following is wrong, which is correct, which is true for this kind of situation. So those kind of questions, direct formula straightforward questions will be 20 questions. 1/3 of the question will be straightforward direct. Okay, 20 questions will be slightly tricky. You have to use some kind of brain. Okay, and remaining 20 questions will be little difficult. Okay, so that is the pattern of KCET throughout the history of KCET. Okay, and out of those 20 questions, 10 will be solvable, 10 can be little difficult. Okay, so those difficult 10 questions students struggle. Otherwise, those who are preparing well for throughout the last 3-4 months, they should be able to score 50 plus marks easily. Okay, but those who are preparing for one whole year, they can score 55 plus easily. Okay, those who are preparing for one day or the day before exam, they can score maybe 30-35 marks. Okay, a molecule with a dipole moment P is placed in an electric field of strength E. initially the dipole is aligned parallel to the field. If the dipole is to be anti-parallel to the field, the work required to be done by a external agency. So initially the dipole is aligned like this. So dipole moment and electric field are in the same direction. So what is the potential energy of the system? Potential energy of the system initially is given by P dot E. Okay, in this case angle is 0, so potential energy is minus PE. Okay, so minus PE. What is the final potential? Now final potential energy when the dipole is rotated anti-parallel, that means now the direction is opposite. So this is minus, the direction is minus P. Okay, so the final potential energy is minus of minus PE. Okay, that is plus P. You can use PE cos theta as well for both cases. So what is the work done? Work done is change in potential, that is final potential energy, minus initial potential energy, that is PE, minus minus PE, that is 2PE. Okay, so this is the correct answer, 2PE, not minus 2PE but plus 2PE. Okay, so be careful, final minus initial, whenever you are calculating work done, energy, that should always be final minus initial. An aeroplane is flying horizontally with velocity of 360 km per hour. The distance between the tips of the wings of aeroplane is 25 meter. The vertical component of Earth's magnetic field is 4 into 10 to the power of minus 4 Weber per meter. The induced EMF is, this is considered to be a medium question. This is considered to be a medium question. So this is an aeroplane, okay, which is flying. Okay, this is the wing tip. Wing tip is 25 meter. Okay, wing tip is 25 meter. The velocity of the aeroplane is 360 km per hour, that is 5 by 18 meter per second. Okay, if you cancel, you will get 20. So 100 meter per second is the speed. Now you have to use the induced EMF formula BVL. Okay, motional EMF, B is given, B is directly in this direction, right? Vertical component is given. Now remember, previously it can be any other component, but because those parts in magnetism and matter are now deleted, only vertical component will be given to you, okay, or the perpendicular component will be given to you. So don't need to worry about any conversion. Okay, 4 into 10 to the power of minus 4, velocity we have calculated 100, and length of the wire is length of the wing tip is 25 meter. So just cancel that. So you get 4 into 25 is 100. So 100 into 100 is 10 to the power of 4 and 10 to the power of minus 4. So you will get 1 volt. So induced EMF is 1 volt, not 100 volt, not any other kilovolt, not 0. Who is spamming? I will block. Anushree, sir, please make a schedule. Sir, please. What schedule do you want? Anushree. And don't spam. What schedule you want? If all this work done is converted into kinetic energy, what would be the final velocity of the electron? Would it reach relativistic speeds of the potential difference was much higher? See, we do not go into the relativistic realm. Okay, relativistic realm is completely different. Okay, some of you like science fiction, so relativity is like a science fiction. Okay, a lot of weird thing happens in relativity. Okay, you may have heard about twin paradox. Some of you may have heard about the length paradox, right? So that can be a completely different thing. So we do not go into the relativistic thing. That for that you have to study a lot of things to understand what is relativity, how if relativistic speed is achieved, then what will happen to the electron. Electron will have, basically will move like a wave. Okay, if you keep the velocity, potential difference very high and for a very long length, and if you allow the electron to accelerate throughout that, which is almost impossible, because creating high voltage between two different regions, so that it is not like a current being carried through a conductor. Okay, it is like a region of space where through which you are accelerating the electron. Okay, conductor, okay, there is a something different mechanism happens, but in case of only single electron, you are accelerating it, you require a very high value of voltage, which is almost impossible to maintain. Okay, and through after that, electron has to reach the speed of light, then only you can see that. There are ways to accelerate electron in speed of light. One of them was cyclotron, but unfortunately that portion is not part of the syllabus, but we do not go what happens to the electron once it reaches the speed, high speed. But not simple by potential difference, it is not possible. Yes, you can do it by rotating motion, in a rotational motion. Now answer this. As I mentioned, question number you can ignore. Question numbers are jumbled, so we have solved question number 10. Again question number 10 is coming, so please ignore the question numbers. A conducting circular loop is placed in a uniform magnetic field of induction B Tesla with its plane normal to the field. Now the radius of the loop starts shrinking at the rate of dr by dt. Then the induced EMF of, at the instant when the radius is smaller. Very interesting question. See, you can answer this. PDF will be shared after the lecture is over. Bunny, we have approximately 50 questions. Okay, approximately 50 questions, slightly more than 50 questions. Okay, but we have taken, I was doing a lot of lectures in the past, so I have taken some questions randomly. I was trying to organize it, but it was taking so much time, so I decided let's not do that. So I kept the order, whatever questions is there. Okay. A lot of questions are taken from different sources, so that's why I was not able to organize all the questions according to the number. But we have approximately 50 questions, slightly more than 50, but less than 60. So first, no other classes going on right now. NEET lecture is not going on, so today there is no NEET classes. So conducting circular loop, so what is the formula for induced EMF is given by d phi by dt. Okay, we are ignoring the negative sign again. Negative sign you can include here, but not required. So d phi by dt, what is phi? Phi is magnetic field into area. Now here magnetic field is constant, but area is not. So here we have a circular ring which is shrinking. Shrinking means the size is decreasing. Slowly the size is decreasing. Okay, and as the what is the rate of decreasing the size? That is given by dr by dt for radius. So radius, how the radius is changing is given, but not the exact area. So we have to put instead of a, we have to put pi r square. Okay, now we have to differentiate both sides. So d phi by dt equals to 2 pi r b dr by dt, and this is the induced EMF. So 2 pi r b dr by dt. So correct answer is option B. Okay. Guys, stop talking nonsense in the chat, because I will start blocking anyone. Okay, if you have any genuine question, please ask that. Otherwise, I will stop blocking. Okay. Sir, if you know Tukka, please teach with it question. So Tukka works some of the questions. It does not work some of the questions. Okay. So one Tukka is that for the example, you cannot apply Tukka for this question. Why? Because pi r, 2 pi r, pi r square by 2. So the options are evenly distributed. You cannot apply any guessing over here. Okay. Now this question also you will not be able to guess anything. So b l omega l square, b omega l square, b omega l square, b omega l square. Only the value that is changing, 3 by 2, half 2. But if you ask me what is common between all these options, common between them is divided by 2. Okay, and to just confuse you, it was given 2 to you. Okay, so 2 is division, so this is common. So either this will be answer or this will be answer. Now if you see a distraction which is very close to the option, which is 2b omega L square, so just to confuse you whether it is half or 2, they have given you this distraction. So if I want to guess, I will guess this is the correct answer. Without reading the question, just reading by the options, I will guess. So how to guess? You read the options one by one. You find what is the common option between them. So b omega L square is common for everything. So that means this is the correct answer. Now among all the factors that is given here, okay, so half is common. Half is the second most common, right? After b omega L square, half is second common. So that means either this will be the answer or this will be the answer. Now they generally tend to give you an option which is exactly opposite of this factor. So from there I see that there is an opposite factor given, which is 2. Okay, so that means I can say confidently that this must be my answer. So this is how you guess. But guessing strategy works in some of the cases, it does not work some of the cases. Let's see the question, if I am right or not. A copper rod of length L is rotated about one end perpendicular to the uniform magnetic field B with constant angular velocity omega. The induced EMF between the two ends. So here we have a copper rod which is being rotated, and now rotational speed is along this. Okay, so here if you consider now what is the we know that motional EMF is BVL. So this formula we want to use, but here angular velocity is given. Linear velocity varies from distance to distance. So linear velocity at this position will be 0. Okay, because this point is barely moving. Linear velocity here will be omega L. Okay, so linear velocity is maximum at the distance. So what is the average linear velocity throughout the wire? Average linear velocity is 0 plus omega L divided by 2. Okay, so this is the average velocity, and that average velocity we will be using here. So B into omega L by 2 into L, so it will be half B omega L square. So obviously whatever we have guessed by eliminating the options, we see that the option is actually correct. Okay, but if you want to be sure, if you want to solve for sure, then this should be your answer. How much do I get if I start my preparation right now? Maybe 25 to 30 if you start right now. Okay, not more than that. The peak value of alternating EMF E is equal to E naught sine omega t is 10 volt and its frequency is 50 hertz. At a time t equals to 1 by 6000, the instantaneous value of the EMF is. Now I am not sure whether it is 1 by 6000 or 1 by 600, but I will try to check it. So peak value of EMF is given by E is equal to E naught sine omega t. Okay, peak value is 10 volt, that means E naught is 10 volt. And frequency is given 50 hertz. Frequency is given 50 hertz. Okay, so frequency given means omega is equal to 2 pi by f. Omega is equal to 2 pi f. Okay, so that means 2 pi into 50, that is 100 pi. So omega is 100 pi. Okay, now they are asking you what would be the value. As I mentioned, this is not 600, 6000, it is 600. Okay, what will be the instantaneous value of the EMF at t equals to 1 by 600? So instantaneous EMF will be 10 into sine omega is 100 pi and time is 1 by 600. Okay, so just put that back into this equation. Okay, and you just simplify. So 0 0 cancels, you get 10 sine pi by 6, which is sine 30 degrees. Sine 30 means root 3, not root 3, half. So it will be 5 volt. Okay, so it will be 5 volt. Okay, Now again, if you want to guess the answer, you see that what is most common among the options. 5 is common, so either this one will be answer or this one will be answer. Okay, 10 volt cannot be the answer, 1 volt also cannot be the answer. So between 5√3 or 5 volt, it is a 50-50 guess. You cannot guess the correct answer from the given value. Okay, so based on the question, either you have to solve it to find, or you have to guess the answer, but it is a 50-50 guess. If you want a 50-50 guess, then it's fine. Now let's see this question. The RMS value of AC is 50 Hz is 10 ampere. The time taken by alternating current in reaching from 0 to maximum value and peak value of the current will be. Now if you see here, what is the most common in all the options? The most common is these two. Okay, most common is these two. So most likely either this one will be answer or this one will be answer. You cannot guess the answer from here, because this appears twice, this is also appearing twice. So there is no distinction between the current section, but if you say the time to reach maximum value, you can guess one of these should be the correct answer. Okay, that is most likely should be the correct, right? Let's see, that is our guess, 50-50 guess here. Okay, so frequency is given 50 Hz and current is 10 ampere. The time taken by the alternating current in reaching from 0 to maximum value and the peak value of the current is. So first of all, let us find the peak value of the current. So here normally IRMS equals to √2I. Okay, max peak value, from peak value you can I naught by √2, sorry. So if IRMS is given to you, peak value becomes √2 times IRMS. Okay, so it will be 1.41 into 10, that is 14.1. Now if I want to guess based on my assumption, most likely this should be the correct answer. Okay, because we have calculated 50% of the problem, because this is easy to calculate. Now how to calculate the time? Time is basically, the time taken from 0 to maximum is basically whatever is the time period divided by 4. So this is the time period. Time period means total time taken by the wave to complete one complete oscillation. So but 0 to maximum happens at the time here, so that is T by 4. Okay, so let's find that time period. Time period is 2 pi, sorry, f is given, so time period is 1 by f. Time period is 1 by f. Okay, so what will be the peak value? Time taken to reach the peak value will be T by 4, which is 1 by 50 into 4, so that is 1 by 200. Okay, 1 by 200, that means it will be half into 10 to the power of minus 2, or 0.5 into 10 to the power of minus 2, or 5 into 10 to the power of minus 3. So in some cases you may not be able to guess directly, but you can partially guess. So as I told you, so either this one should be correct or this one should be correct. So based on the option, you have to guess one option, but if you solve 50% of the problem and guess the remaining portion, that also give you a little bit push. Okay, but if you want completely blind guess, one of them should be your answer, but you cannot choose which is correct, because on the other side there is no hint. Okay, but yes, in many cases you can guess, in many cases you cannot guess. Okay, now there is a rule. Some people say that extreme values are excluded. Extreme values are excluded means 10, 1.3, 5, 6.5 should be excluded. One of them should be the answer. Okay, one of them should be the answer. Now extreme values are excluded. If you see that this value, you can this is smallest value. Some say Okay, take the smallest value in between these two values. Okay, so that is one strategy. That is a complete random guess Tukka strategy, right? But if the options are somewhat similar, related, then you can guess some of the questions. But yes, most cases extreme values you can ignore. So remaining 50-50 chance. The frequency of an alternating voltage is 50 cycles per second and its amplitude is 120 volt. Then the RMS value of the voltage. So amplitude is given 120 volt. So RMS value, frequency is not required, 120 divided by root 2. So 120 divided by 1.41, which will be let's say 60 divided by 0.7. Okay, so it will be approximately 80 point something. So it will be 80 point something. Okay, so definitely we see that correct answer is 84.8. Okay, because 7 8s are 56, so it will be 80 point something. Okay, so if you remove the decimal, you put 1 0 over here, so you will get 8, then 40, so it will be 4. Okay, so you have to guess the answer. As I mentioned, extreme values you can exclude, remaining 2 is basically a random guess. Okay, between these two it will be a random guess. Okay, but there are instances where extreme values can still be an answer, but you have to take a guess. Voltage and current in the AC are given by, so this is the voltage and this is the current. Voltage leads, current lags, current leads voltage, voltage lead by current 30 degrees, current leads the voltage by 30 degrees, current leads the voltage by 60 degrees, voltage leads the current by 60 degrees. Now again here all the options are equally distributed, you cannot guess. All the options are equally distributed. Voltage leads the current 30 degree, voltage leads the current by 60 degree. Current leads the voltage by 60 degree, 30 degree, current leads the voltage by 60 degree. So you cannot guess you cannot guess, but it's an easy question. That is a different thing. But some cases you cannot take any guess, because you are asking me how to guess. I will continue in some other questions as well. So here if you see that current is positive, voltage is negative. So current is leading, voltage is lagging. So what is the angle of phase difference? Phase difference. So who is leading? Current is leading. So current leads means either this or this. So now what is the phase angle? Phase angle is current that with which the current is leading minus current angle of current minus angle of voltage. So what is the angle of current? Angle of current is pi by 6 and angle of voltage is minus pi by 6. So it will be pi by 3. Pi by 3 means 60 degrees. So current leads by an angle of 60 degrees. Okay, current leads by a angle of 60 degrees. Not B, not B. Okay, you have to take the difference between the angles. Difference between the angles, pi by 6 minus pi by 6. So the angle difference is 60 degrees, not 30 degrees. So here basically we have minus 30 degree, here we have plus 30 degree. So voltage difference is 30 minus minus 30, that is 60 degrees. Okay. So if you still want to discuss anything else other than study in the lecture, I will keep blocking you. Okay, sir, with what is your question? Sir, we should watch this first or top 100 question. You can watch this one or top 100 question. All are mostly 95% different questions. So you will not find any difference between these two. But that one is longer. This one I am trying to keep it within 2 hours so that you can rewatch the questions quickly. But I don't think it will be over by 2 hours. But let's see. Potential difference between the point, but don't go by this number. This is not question number 16. Okay, the polling is coming. That is fine, just to give you an idea about the question. Otherwise, don't go by this number. potential difference between point P and Q in the circuit shown. So this is very tempting question. Okay, this looks like a Wheatstone bridge, so I should remove this resistance and calculate equivalent resistance. Then it is a trap question for you. Okay, because Wheatstone bridge happens when the circuit is like this. Circuit is like this. So here they have not given it you like this. It is given like it is given from this side. So you cannot ignore any resistance. Basically it's a series and parallel combination of resistors. Okay, so these two are in series, these two are in series, and combining all three are in parallel. So here we have 3 and 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. So we have a 7 ohm resistance like this. Okay, here we have 6 plus 8 as 14. So 14 ohm resistance like this. This is not a Wheatstone bridge combination, by the way, and we have a 2 ohm at the center. Okay, so 14, 7 and 2. Okay, so now these three resistances are connected in parallel. Okay. So what is the equivalent resistance? 1 by 2 plus 1 by 7 plus 1 by 14. This is 1 by R equivalent, which is 14. Then we have 7 to the 14 plus 2 7s are 14 plus 14 1s are 14. So you get 9 plus 10. So 10 by 14, or R equivalent equals to 14 by 10. Okay, 14 by 10 is the equivalent resistance. So what is voltage? If you see here, current is given 15 ampere. So voltage is I into R. So I is 15 and current is 14 by 10. So if you cancel, you get 5 2s are 10, 3 5s are 15, and then we have 7. So 21 volt. So the voltage is 21 volt. It's very common trap for all of you, so that you ignore the Wheatstone bridge trap. It is actually looking like Wheatstone bridge, but it is actually not a Wheatstone bridge. Okay. Yes. Now next question. In the electric circuit shown, each cell has an EMF of 2 volt and internal resistance of 1 ohm. The external resistance is 2 ohm. The value of the current in ampere is. So what is the value of the current in ampere? So here we have 2 volt and 1 ohm internal resistance. How many cells are there? We have 1, 2, 1, 2. But here this cell is, if you see the diagram, so one positive negative, okay, then we have another positive negative, and then we have negative positive. So basically what happens, if this is E, this is E, this is minus E. Okay, so one cell is wrongly connected. If you see that in the diagram, it's a very common mistake, common thing to miss this. So here one cell is wrongly connected. So the equivalent EMF here is basically E plus E minus E. That is equals to only E, which is 2 volt. But equivalent resistance is 1 plus 1 plus 1. Resistance will be always added. So that is 3 ohm. So R equivalent is 3 ohm, E equivalent is 2 volt, external resistance is 2 ohm. So what is the current? So current is given by equivalent EMF divided by total resistance plus external resistance. Okay, so 2 by 5, that is multiply by 2, 0.4 ampere. 0.4 ampere, option C is correct. Okay, I don't know why you have answered 2, which is completely wrong. If the potential difference 0 volt, does that mean that if I place a 2 omega resistor with a plain copper wire, the total current of 15 ampere won't change at all? How is that possible? Potential difference is not 0. Pix video. Potential difference, how can it be 0? Potential difference is not 0. Potential difference is 21 volt. The option is given that can be given to you. Okay, just to distract you, that any kind of distraction is given. It is wrong, right? So obviously potential difference cannot be 0. You cannot put a 15 ampere, then it will be short circuited and it will burn. Okay, so if potential in potential difference is possibly you can make one end grounded and make that point to be 0, but overall potential difference will not be 0. If potential difference is 0, no current flows. Very simple. Now a 5.0 ampere current is set up in an external circuit by a 6 volt storage battery for 6 minutes. The chemical energy of the battery is reduced by. So you have to calculate how much energy is dissipated in the circuit. If you can find how much energy is dissipated, you can find same amount of energy will be taken from the chemical energy, right? Conservation of energy. So 5 ampere current, okay, voltage is 6 volt, time is 6 minutes. So how much energy is dissipated? Energy dissipated equals to vitamin. So if you eat vitamin, you get energy. Okay, so vitamin V is 6 volt, I is 5 ampere and 6 minutes, but in this case we will convert it into seconds by multiplying another 60. Okay, so you get 36 into 5, 150, 180, no, sorry, let's not do it like this. 6 5 is 30 into 36. 30 into 36 is 918. Okay, 918, no. 30, 5 6 is 30, 30 into 36. So it will be 3 into 36, 18, in hand 1, 9, 0. Okay, so it will be 1080. 1080 and 0. Okay, 10 from here, 10 from 30. Okay, so 10800. So you can write this as 1.08 into 10 to the power of 4. Okay, joules. So you can write this as 1.08 into 10 to the power of 4 joules. Now here one important part is that volt is not a unit of energy, so you can ignore these two options. Okay, so volt is not a unit of energy, it is only unit of potential difference. Now next, this is an infinite circuit. This is an infinite circuit problem. The equivalent resistance between the points A and B. So infinite resistance based circuit was popular few days back as well, but it did not came last 2-3 years, but it might be repeated. So you have to how to solve an infinite circuit. When you want to solve an infinite circuit, first of all you remember that if you remove some of the resistances from this side, the overall resistance does not change because it's an infinite circuit. And first step is to find a point where if you cut that or remove that point, the circuit looks exactly same. So basically if you cut the circuit here, okay, so you remove this portion completely, you will see that this resistance and this resistance looks exactly same as the original resistance. So basically this component, this and this goes to infinity, right? This is a very large circuit. So if the total resistance between A and B is R, after removing this, the total resistance between these 2 points should also be R, because it's a very infinite, very long infinite circuit. Okay, so even if you remove this portion, the resistance of the circuit should not change. So even after removing this portion, the total resistance between these two junctions should still be R. Okay, now let's read out the circuit. So these portions we have removed. What we have removed? We have removed 2 ohm, 2 ohm and this 2 ohm. Okay, now here we are saying that we are adding a resistance in this portion of the circuit still should have the same resistance as the equivalent resistance of the original circuit. That is the logic. Okay, now this equivalent resistance is still R, right? Now you have to simplify this, equate that with R and solve a quadratic equation. Basically it's a quadratic equation problem. So what is the parallel combination of 2 and R? Parallel combination of 2 and R is basically 2R by 2 plus R. So what is the total resistance? Total resistance is 2 plus 2 plus 2R by 2 plus R, and that should be equals to R. Why? So this is the portion that students struggle to understand. This is the portion the students struggle to understand. So basically we assume that originally the total resistance of the circuit is R. Now we say that we remove some portion so that the circuit looks exactly same. So if I cut this portion out, up to this, okay, it looks exactly same as the original circuit. And we say that because it exactly looks like original circuit, the resistance between these two junction is R, same as the resistance between these two junction R. Okay, now we remove the entire part with a single resistor, and then we simplify basically. Okay, so 4 plus 2R by 2 plus R equals to R. Now do the cross multiplication. So 8 plus 4R plus 2R equals to 2R plus R square. Okay, so 8 plus 6R, 8 plus 6R equals to 2R plus R square. Okay, now you take everything on the other side and write is equals to 0. So R square plus 2R minus 8 minus 6R equals to 0. So you get R square minus 4R plus, not plus, minus 8 equals to 0. So this is a quadratic equation. You have to use quadratic equation formula, that is R equals to minus B plus or minus square root of B square minus 4AC by 2A. Okay, but here do not take the negative value, you have to take the positive value, and if you simplify you will get R equals to 5.5 ohm. Okay, if you simplify you will get 5.5 ohm, but do not take the values that if resistance value changes, the answer also changes, so you have to simplify it. Okay, now next question. A charged particle that type of circuit can you use direct formula root 3 1 plus R? Root 3 plus 1 R, it depends on the resistance value. Okay, it is not always applicable. Some cases it actually, if the same setup is given, then you can apply, but there is a possibility that they might add a resistance like this. If they add a resistance like this, then the entire circuit geometry changes. So if the geometry changes, you cannot apply that root 3 plus 1 R concept. If the same configuration is given, instead of 2, if 5 is given, root 3 plus 1 into R is a good approximation. But if they change the configuration, in this configuration you cannot apply this, but the concept that I have applied is still applicable for this configuration as well. Okay, so you basically playing with the geometry. If the same geometry is given, root 3 plus 1 into R is a good approximation. Okay, I used to recommend that, but then I saw one case the pattern of the question changes, and then student says, sir, this formula you told me is not, I could not solve the question. Okay, so be careful. Now a charged particle is moving in an electric field of 10 to the power of minus 10 volt per meter with mobility 2.5 into 10 to the power of 6 meter square per volt second. Its drift velocity is. Okay, now let's see. So here you might feel that mostly answer should be of 10 to the power of minus 4 value. Let's check that theory. Okay, you might think this must be the one of the answers. Let's see. Okay, so this is something which you need to be careful about. So charged particle is moving, electric field is given, mobility is given, okay, and they asking you what is the drift velocity. So mobility is drift velocity per unit electric field. Drift velocity per unit electric field. So drift velocity is mobility into electric field. Okay, so you get here as mobility is 2.5 into 10 to the power of 6, and this is 10 to the power of minus 10. So you get this as 2.5 into 10 to the power of minus 4. So it will be minus. This is also minus. This should also be minus. Otherwise, that does not make any sense. So the drift velocity is 2.5 into 10 to the power of minus 4 meter per second. Okay. So again, if you see the options, extreme values are generally not correct. Extreme values, that is the smallest and largest, are generally not correct. Whatever is left, any value between these two are generally correct. So if you want to take a random guess, when the problem is numerical, you exclude the extreme values. Between the remaining two values, whatever are left, you take a guess. Okay. Now answer this question. IV characteristic of a copper wire of length L, area of cross section A is shown in the figure. The slope of the graph becomes. So first of all, it is V versus I graph. So if V versus I graph is given, we know that V is equal to IR or I is equal to V upon R. Okay, so that means if you write the equation of a straight line, Y is equal to mx plus C. Here C is not there because it is starting from the origin. So if you compare this with this equation, you see that slope of the graph is 1 upon R, because the graph is y-axis is I, x-axis is V. So y equals to mx plus C. Now x is V, so slope must be 1 upon R. And what is so slope is 1 upon R, and what is resistance? Resistance is rho L by A. So if you put it here, you get A by rho L. So if you increase the area, okay, if you increase the area, then the slope increases. So less is incorrect. Less if length of the wire is increased. So if you increase the length, which is in division, if you increase the length, then you see that the slope decreases. Okay, so this less is correct. This less is correct. So definitely this is a correct statement. You can check the other two options as well if you have any doubts, but okay, now let's move on to the next question. The variation of terminal potential difference with current flowing through a cell is shown. The EMF and internal resistance of the cells are. So this is a very neat question. Here not NEET neat question, is NEAT question. Okay, so very simple strategic question. So if you see the diagram over here, you will realize at this point, okay, the current is 0. So this is giving you a point where current is 0, and this point the voltage is 0. So at this point voltage is 0, at this point current is 0. Okay, so we know that V equals to epsilon minus IR when only current is passing through a battery. Now if current is equals to 0, then V is equals to E. Okay, so that means at this point we can say that because current is 0, so the EMF of the cell is 3 volt. Okay, EMF of the cell is 3 volt. Now at this point, this is along the x-axis, so voltage y-axis must be 0. So at this point, this is from point A. So this is point A, and this point say B. So from the point B, we say that V is 0, so E minus IR. Okay, so R must be E upon I. E is 3 volt, I we have found out 6 ampere given in the diagram. So this becomes 0.5 ampere. Okay, so we get 3 volt, 0.5 ohm, not ampere, sorry, 0.5 ohm. So correct answer for this question is option D. Most of you have answered this wrong. It is not 2 ohm, it is 0.5 ohm. Okay, now let's move on. The effective resistance between P and Q in the following network. So here we have this and this in series. This series connection is in parallel with this. So 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, this 6 is parallel with this 6. So the equivalent resistance 6 and 6 and 6 parallel means 6 into 6 by 6 plus 6, which is nothing but 6 by 2, which is nothing but 3 ohm. So basically this in complicated circuit simplifies into 1 4 ohm, then 1 3 ohm. You have to solve very quickly. You do not have a lot of time. Sir, how you get this 3 ohm? You have to process that quickly. 3 plus 3 6, 6 and 6 parallel, equivalent resistance half. Okay, now you add the resistances. 7 plus 5 is 12. So 12 ohm is the answer. Okay, 12 ohm will be the answer. Next, to send 10% of the main current through a moving coil galvanometer of resistance 99 ohm, the shunt required is. So here we have a galvanometer, okay, and here we have a shunt. Okay, resistance of the galvanometer is 99 ohm. Okay, you are sending 10% of the main current through this. 10% means 0.1. Okay, remaining 0.9 is passing through the shunt resistance. Now galvanometer and shunt are actually parallelly connected. So parallel combination means the voltage drop between these 2 points must be same. So voltage drop between these 2 points must be same. So if you find the voltage across the galvanometer, that is Ig into G, and that should be equals to voltage drop across the shunt, that is Is into S. Okay, so S will be equals to Ig into G divided by Is. Now Ig is 0.1, G is 99 and Is is 0.9. Okay, so point cancels, you get 11 ohm. So the resistance of the shunt must be 11 ohm. Okay. No one answered this question correctly. Most of you have answered 9 ohm. Most of you have answered 9 ohm. How is that possible? If we put all the option B, we get 25 marks. Krutika put 2. But the variation changes year to year. Okay, last year's paper, there were many option D was correct. Okay, and year before that, many of the option A was correct. So if you only put option B, there is a possibility that 1/4 of your questions will be correct. So 1/4 means 60 by 4, which is 15 marks. So if you put only one option, highly likely you will get 15 marks, not more than that. That is the maximum possible marks you will get, not 25. Don't live in the land of dreams. Okay. A magnetic field of 0.4 K Tesla exerts a force 2 I cap plus J cap into 10 to the power of -7 Newton on a particle having charge 1 microcoulomb while moving in the XY plane. The velocity of the particle is. So magnetic field of 0.4 K Tesla, force here is this. Okay, then velocity of the particle. Now this question I have solved in my previous lecture as well, and some of you raise, sir, this question solution is wrong. Understand it first. You are not doing the cross product between these two quantities. You are doing cross product of velocity and a magnetic field. Okay, force is given by V cross B. Okay, you will learn something, you will apply something else, and then you make something, you answer something else, and then you will say, sir, why my answer is wrong. Okay, I answered option B, why my answer is wrong. Okay, so what is velocity V? Now you assume that velocity V is given by A I cap plus B J cap. Okay, it is A I cap plus B J cap. So A I cap, you cannot do directional analysis directly if you are just solving without mathematics. Okay, direction analysis you can do only after doing the cross product. Once you have done the cross product, you can do the direction analysis. Okay, you can ignore the 10 to the power of minus 7 for now. Okay, so now if you do the cross product, I cross K is first, I J K. Okay, I J K, this is the order you need to remember. I cross J is K, K cross I is J, J cross K is I. But here we are doing I cross K, opposite direction. Opposite direction means minus J. Okay, so A I cap into this will be minus J. So minus A 0.4 minus 0.4 A J cap. Okay, and when you are doing J cross K in the positive direction, so that means it will be I cap. So you get plus 0.4 B I cap. Okay, so if you compare these two quantities, you will get 0.4 B I cap equals to 2 I cap. Okay, so you say that 0.4 B is equal to 2. Now I think there is some factor given here that that should cancel this 10 to the power of minus 7, which is unfortunately not here. So B equals to 2 divided by 0.4, which is 20 by 4, which is 5. Okay, so some factor has to be there which is missing in this question. Anyway, and minus 0.4A equals to 2. So A equals to 2 by 0.4. Sorry. Minus, this is J cap, minus 0.4 A equals to 1. So A equals to minus 1 by 0.4. Okay, so there is a 10 factor is missing basically. If you consider the 10 factor, it will be less than that. So it will be minus 2.5. Okay, no, sorry, it's perfect. Minus 2.5 and 5J. So this is the answer. This 10 to the power of minus 7 I think should not be there. Okay, it should cancel in the problem. So if you compare, first you do the cross multiplication, then you compare the values. Okay, then you compare the values, you will get the answer. Do not try to force multiply these two quantities, which is not correct. Okay, you cannot do the direction analysis here. You cannot do the direction analysis here. Okay, one other option is that you do the cross multiplication with individual terms and figure out what is the correct answer, but that will take a longer time. Okay, now next question. Yes, Chaitanya, that question, some of the questions are taken from top 100 because today we are not restricting only on one subject. It is a revision of all sorts of questions. Okay, I have taken questions from all sorts of sources, so some questions may be common, and this question I have taken particularly because someone commented that, sir, this direction analysis shows a different answer. That's why I have taken. So direction analysis you cannot apply here. Okay, it is V cross V, not B cross B. A particle of mass m, charge q, and kinetic energy K. But don't worry, we will have some different questions as well very soon. A particle of mass m, charge q and kinetic energy K enters a transverse uniform magnetic field B. After 3 seconds, the kinetic energy of the particle will be. So basically this is the magnetic field, this is the velocity, they are perpendicular. So because the perpendicular, the particle will rotate in a circular motion, so kinetic energy will remain unchanged. Kinetic energy will remain unchanged. Okay, it will not be 9k, 3k, 2k, root 3k, it will be simply be k. A circular coil of wire of radius r has n number of turns and carries a current I. The magnetic induction B at a point on the axis of the coil at a distance root 3r from the center. So here we have a circular coil and we are trying to find the magnetic field at a distance root 3r from the center. Okay, number of turns are n. Magnetic induction, let me do one thing, let me save it once. The magnetic induction B at a point on the axis of the coil at a distance root 3r. Current is given I. Okay. So we know that magnetic field at a distance is given by mu naught by 2 I by I r square by r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. So this is the magnetic field at a distance from the center. Okay, now let's put the n over here because number of turns is not 1, so you have to add the n as well. So mu naught by 2 n I r square divided by r square plus this distance is root 3r, so it will be 3r square to the power 3 by 2. Okay, now you have to simplify basically. Now r square plus 3r square equals to 4r square to the power 3 by 2 means first will be square root 4r square and then cube. So it will be 2r whole cube, that is 8r cube. So this entire thing is 8r cube. So let's put that mu naught by 2 n I r square by 8r cube. So r square cancels and you get mu naught ni by 16r by 16r. So option A is correct. Okay, yes, most of you have answered correctly. Let's move on. The number of turns in a coil of galvanometer is tripled, then both voltage and current sensitivity remains constant. Voltage sensitivity increases, current 3 times, current sensitivity constant. Both voltage and current sensitivity decreases by 33%. Voltage sensitivity remains constant and current sensitivity increases 3 times. So if you remember what is current sensitivity? Current sensitivity is basically given by NIA by NIA by I forgot there is some term over here as well. Okay, I think NIA by K. What is voltage sensitivity? Voltage sensitivity is NIA by R. Okay, so if you increase the number of turns, current sensitivity is basically the meaning of this is current sensitivity is directly proportional to number of turns. Voltage sensitivity is directly proportional to number of turns divided by resistance. So if you increase the number of turns, resistance increases by same amount. If you increase the number of turns, the resistance increases by same amount. Why? Because resistance is proportional to length. So what is the meaning of increasing number of turns? Basically you are increasing length, okay, but in a circular order. So basically the more number of circle you are increasing, more length it is being increased. So resistance increase is also happening here. So voltage sensitivity cannot be changed using the number of turns. Only current sensitivity can be increased. Okay, so current sensitivity will be will be tripled, but voltage sensitivity will remain same. So in this case, correct answer is option D. Okay, so correct answer will be option D. Just have me some water. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. An electron is moving in a circle of radius small r in a uniform magnetic field B. Electron is moving in a circle of radius small r in a uniform magnetic field B. Suddenly, the field is reduced to B by 2. The radius of the circular path now becomes. So, radius is given by mv by qb. Okay, radius of circular path is given by mv by qb. So, if you reduce the magnetic field, okay, by 2, then it will be b by 2, so it will be 2r. So, radius will be 2r. Okay, it is not r by 2, not r by 4, it will be 2r. So, if you are going by the logic of extreme values, those are applicable for numerical questions, not applicable for variable based questions. Okay, so remember that variable based questions, generally the extreme value theory does not work. Okay, now let's see one a question from your PU1. A monoatomic gas is suddenly compresses to 1/8. Sir, from first year important topic, all the chapters are not that important. Second PU are most important. First PUC, first 5 chapters you study, that's it. First PUC, first 5 chapters, that's it. Monochromatic gas is suddenly compressed to 1/8 of its initial volume. Adiabatically, the ratio of the final pressure to initial pressure is. So in first PUC, we are basically choosing some of the questions where you might struggle. Otherwise, first PUC questions are generally easy. Okay, some of the concept you might have forgotten, some of the concept you might be struggling. So I have chosen few of those concepts. So remember that in adiabatic process, PV to the power of gamma equals to constant. Okay, PV to the power of gamma equals to constant in adiabatic process. That means P1 V1 to the power of gamma equals to P2 V2 to the power of gamma. So P1 by P2, or we are finding final pressure to initial. So final pressure to initial means P2 by P1 equals to V1 by V2 to the power of gamma. Now it says that the gas is compressed by 1/8 of its initial value. So V2 equals to 1/8 of V1. So V1 by V2 is 8, right? So here it will be 8 to the power gamma. Now what is gamma? Gamma is 5/3. So put that here, 5/3. So 5/3 means 8 cube root of 8 to the power 5. Cube root of 8 is 2 to the power of 5. 2 to the power of 5 means 32. So 32 is the answer. Now again, if you try to guess the answer, that will be wrong. The extreme values are not cancelled. So this is this is an extreme value. So 32 can still be answered. So it varies from question to question. Which of the following graphs okay, which of the following graphs correctly represents the variation of G on Earth? Which of the following graph so don't look into the question number. This is not the first question. We are already 1 hour 40 minutes into the lecture. So as I mentioned, don't look into the question number. So which is correct answer? Yes, most of you have answered correctly. So no requirement to explain the question. So remember that inside the earth the gravitational acceleration is linear, so it increases linearly, and as you go down it decreases 1 by r square. Okay, so it increases linearly inside the earth's surface and it decreases by 1 by r square as you move away from the surface of the earth. So correct graph is option B. Now next, an ideal fluid flows through a pipe of circular cross section with diameters 5 cm and 10 cm as shown. The ratio of velocity of fluids at A and B are. So diameters are given here 5 cm. Here it is given as 10 cm. No need to convert it into radiuses, not required, okay, because eventually that factor will be cancelled. Suppose velocity here is VA, velocity here is VB. Okay, now equation of continuity tells us velocity into area is constant. Okay, velocity into area is constant. So VA into pi d square by 4 equals to into VB pi dB square by 4, right? So pi cancels, so VA by VB is basically dB square by dA square. Okay, so the 4 factor also cancels, so no need to worry. So dB is 5, so 25 divided by dA, dB is 10, so it will be 100, and dA is 5, so it will be 25, so it will be 4. So the ratio is 4:1. So ratio is 4:1. Next question. A force of 10 Newton displaces an object by 10 meters. If the work done is 50 joules, the angle made by the direction of force with the direction of displacement. So we know that work done is given by Fs cos theta. Okay, work done is 50 joules, force is 10 Newton, displacement is 10 meter, and cos theta we will find. So cos theta equals to 50 by 100, that is half. Now cos half does not mean 30 degree, it means cos 60 degrees. So theta equals to 60 degrees. Okay, so it will be 60 degrees. Now next question. The kinetic energy of a body is increased by 300%. Then the percentage increase in the momentum will be. Okay, so kinetic energy increased by 300%. What is the percentage increase in its momentum? Now let's see. So kinetic energy and momentum are related through this formula. Kinetic energy is equal to P square by 2m. Okay. Now what is so there is one problem with this question. It is not increased by, it is increased to. So that is one difference. Okay, increased to 300%. That means suppose initially it was 100, finally it is 300. So change in kinetic energy is 300 minus 100, okay, percent. Okay, so change is actually 200%. Otherwise you will not get the answer. So change is 200%. So that is one problem with this question. This is not increased by, but it is increased to. So now let's find out. Delta K is given by 2p delta P by 2m. M is constant. So
mic off.
Just a second, guys. There is give me a break. So 2p delta p by 2m. So delta k is equal to 2p delta p by 2m. Okay, now we have to find delta k by k equals to 2 delta p by p. Okay, if you divide both sides, you will get this relation. Okay, so this is a method of calculating percentage change. If you are solving any questions with percentage change, you should always approach the question with this method. Okay, so the change, percentage change in kinetic energy is 200%. Okay, and we are trying to find percentage change in the momentum, delta p by p. So delta p by p will be equals to 200 divided by 2, that is 100% only. So correct answer is 100% only. Okay, so option A is correct, not B. Whatever you have answered, not D, it is A. This divided by, okay, divided by. Have a little focus on the class. Two quantities x and y have different dimensions. Which mathematical operation given below is physically meaningful? So if you are given a question where different dimensions are given, then always remember that only thing you can do with the different dimension is either multiply or divide. Okay, different dimensional quantities cannot be added or subtracted or written like an equation, which is not applicable for different dimensional quantity. Different dimensional quantity can either be multiplied or by divided. Okay, but you cannot add, subtract or write in a equation form. Okay, so the B, C, D does not make any sense. Only thing that makes sense is A. A body is moving along a straight line with initial velocity v0 and acceleration a. The average velocity of the body over the given time interval is. So what is the average? How to calculate average velocity? The average velocity is basically total distance traveled divided by total time, always. Okay, here it is given that final velocity is v square, final velocity is v. So v square equals to v0 square plus 2as. So from this equation, s equals to v square minus v0 square by 2a. Okay, based on the options, we have chosen this equation. Okay, if you see the options, it is v square plus v0 square or minus v0 square. So that's why you have chosen this option. Now if you divide this with time t, you get this as your average velocity. So from the equation, option C is correct. Okay, so option C is correct for this question. Not A, C. Check. This is not positive, this is negative. Next, two masses of 5 kg and 3 kg are suspended with the help of massless inextensible string as shown in the figure. When whole system is going upwards with acceleration of 2 meter per second square, the value of T1 is. So here I will teach you a very unique trick, that first of all, this tension is here, right? How many masses are after that? So here we have 5 kg, here we have 3 kg. So the total mass of this block is 5 plus 3, that is 8 kg. So if this is applicable for rail system also. So rail system means one mass, another mass, another mass. Okay, you are applying some force here. Okay, so in that case also, if you are trying to find tension, okay, based on the direction of force, okay, whatever is behind, you have to add everything. Okay, so that is the first step. So here we are only considering one mass having 8 kg. Nothing else is required. Tension is T1 and the system is accelerating upward direction. Okay, there is a weight of the body which is acting downward. So this is the free body diagram of this system. Now if you can figure this out, now one thing that students forget, that how to calculate MA, how to calculate net force. So there is a neat trick. Remember that the force, these two are the primary forces, this is the secondary force, which is actually you have to figure out. Remember that whoever, these two, between these two forces, whoever has the direction of acceleration. So directional acceleration is upward. This force is upward. So we say this force is a rich force. This force is a rich force. And because this is acting in the opposite direction, this is a poor force. Okay? So rich minus poor. Now you have to remember rich minus poor equals to MA. Okay, rich minus poor equals to MA. Okay, so rich is T1 because it has the direction of acceleration. That's it. This is opposite, so this is mg and this is equals to MA. Okay, so T1 equals to m g plus A. So m is 5 kg. M is 8 kg. 5 plus 3, 8 kg. G is 10. A is 2 meter per second square. Okay, so it will be about 96 Newton. 8 12s are 96. Now you will say that, okay, if we take G 9.8, the correct match will be this. Okay, so in such cases also, even if they say that take G 9.8, unless and until 9.8 is getting cancelled, do not take 9.8, take 10. That is also one tip to solve questions. Okay, even unless and until some cases you might find that 9.8 is getting cancelled. So in that case you can take 9.8. Otherwise you can, what you can do, you can cancel. Otherwise you take 10. Okay, now let's move on to another part of the questions. In a vernier caliper, n plus 1 divisions of vernier scale coincides with n divisions of main scale. If one main scale division represents 0.1 millimeter, the vernier constant is. Okay, so n plus 1 division coincides with n division. Now whoever can answer this question correctly with logic, I will give you a lollipop. Okay, okay, so vernier caliper means, so this is the scale, suppose, and there is a small scale which is vernier caliper. Okay, so n plus 1 of the scale matches with n number of scale division. So you have seen that in vernier, 50 vernier division matches with 49, or 10 division of vernier matches with 9 division, right? So what is the vernier constant? So vernier constant VC is the number of division that coincides with main division minus with how many scales it coincides with, divided by total number of vernier scale division into 1 MSD, that is 0.1, okay, millimeter. Okay, but they ask you in centimeter, so let's see. You get this as 1 by n plus 1 into 0.1 millimeter. Okay, millimeter to centimeter. So it will be 1 by n plus 1 into 0.01 centimeter, that is 1 by n plus 1 into 1 by 100 centimeter. So that will be 1 by 100 n plus 1 centimeter. This is the vernier scale, vernier constant in centimeter unit. So correct answer is this. Remember, difference in vernier scales divided by total number of vernier scales into 1 MSD. into 1 MSD. MSD means not Mahendra Singh Dhoni. MSD stands for main scale division. Okay. The vernier scale of a traveling microscope has 50 divisions, which coincides with 49 main scale divisions. If each main scale division is 0.5 millimeter, then the least count of the microscope is. So again, this is based on your experiment. Almost same question as last one. So here we have 50 divisions coincides with 49 main scale division. So first of all, so least count or vernier constant is same, which is difference in the divisions 50 minus 49 by 50 into 1 main scale division. Guys, concentrate in the lecture. I will start blocking those who are discussing useless things. Sir, in question 11 they told that the work done by external agency, so should we take negative change in potential energy? See, it depends. If the work is being done, if the change in potential energy is positive, generally the work done is positive. That is, external work is being done. Okay, but if you are seeing that this is happening because of internal force, suppose one charge positive, another charge positive, then in that case you have to take external agency as negative. But if it is normal motion, okay, then external agency is only doing the work. So that in that case it will be positive only. Okay, depends on situation to situation. Suppose one is positive, one is negative. Okay, if you are increasing the distance, the work done by external agency only. Okay. Most cases they give the magnitude, so don't worry about these things. So here you get 1 by 50 and 0.5 millimeter. 0.5 millimeter means 5 divided by 10 millimeter. So you get 10. So 1 by 100 millimeter. That is 0.01 millimeter. So the least count is 0.01 millimeter. With increase in temperature, the conductivity of metals increases, the semiconductor decreases, semiconductors increases and metals decreases. In both metals and semiconductors increases. So what is correct? Rajesh, I will take one more hour. I was planning to finish it by 6, but as you can see, we still have another 20 more questions. So I will be done by 1 more hour, but I will take a small break of 10 minutes because I am taking the class for almost 2 hours. So I will be taking a small break of 2 minutes, 10 minutes, then I will be back. Okay, let's solve this question, then 10 minutes break. Then I will be finishing by 7:15. With the increase in the temperature, the conductivity of metals increases, of semiconductor decreases. So if you increase the temperature, conductivity of metals decreases. Okay, so conductivity of metals decreases, but conductivity of semiconductors increases. So semiconductor increases, metals decreases, because we are talking about conductivity, not resistivity. So correct answer is option B. Okay, now next. A string of 1 meter long is under a tension of 600 Newton in a sonometer. If the fundamental frequency is 100 Hertz, the mass per unit length of the string is. So string of 1 meter long. So this question I will give you. I will come back to this, but I need to take a break. Just a second. So just give me a second. So I will take a 10-minute break, and then I'll be back. And in the meantime, you should solve this question. Okay? Then we will be coming back. Give me 2 minutes, I will start, don't worry. I am here. Okay, so a string of 1 meter long is under tension of string of 1 meter long is under tension of 400 Newton in a sonometer. If the fundamental frequency is 100 Hertz, the mass per unit length of the string is. So what is the formula for fundamental frequency in a sonometer, which is given by 1 by 2L square root of mu, 1 by 2L square root of T by mu or mu by T. It is T by mu. So the unit has to be finally has to be cancelled, so that you get a dimension of 1 by second here. So it will be T by mu. Okay. So now the mass is the length is given 1 meter, so 1 by 2 into 1. Tension is given here as 400, okay, 400 Newton, and you are trying to find mass per unit length, which is mu. Frequency is given here 100. Okay, so now do the cross multiplication. You get 200 equals to square root of 400 by mu. Okay, now the easiest solution here is taking the square and doing the division, or you can do the square root first. So 200 equals to now 400 square root. 400 square root is 20. It is not 200, it is 20. So 200 is equal to 20 by root mu. So root mu equals to 20 by 200, that is 1 by 10. Okay, 1 by 10. So mu equals to 1 by 100. Now everything is in SI unit, so this will be in kg per meter. This will be kg per meter. But if you want to convert it into gram, then it will be 1 by 100 into 1000 gram per meter. Okay, so it will be 10 gram per meter, not 10 gram per centimeter. It will be 10 gram per meter. So 10 gram per meter is the correct answer, not 10 gram per centimeter. Okay, we have only converted the gram. Now let's move on. A galvanometer of resistance 50 ohm. The galvanometer of resistance 50 ohm is connected to a battery of 3 volt along with the resistance of 2950 in series. A full deflection of 30 divisions is obtained in the full division of 30 division is obtained in the galvanometer. In order to reduce this deflection to 20 divisions, the resistance in series should be. So battery is 3 volt, resistance is 2950, full deflection of 30 division is observed. Okay, in order to reduce this deflection to 20 division, the resistance in series should be. So what is the total resistance? Galvanometer resistance is 50 ohm, the external resistance is 2950. So the total resistance is basically G plus R, which is 50 plus 2950, which is 3000. So 3000 ohm is the total resistance. Now you are getting a division of 30 division. That means what is the current that is being passing in the circuit? Current that is being passing in the circuit, the galvanometer is basically connected in series obviously with the voltage. Okay, so that means current in the circuit is voltage divided by resistance. Voltage is 3 volt divided by 3000. Okay, so current here is 1 by 1000 ampere. Now you basically reducing the deflection to 20, 30 to 20 means you are reducing this current. Your aim is to reduce this current. First step is to find this current. How can you find this current? Okay, this is very, very important to find the current. So 30 division gives you 1 by 1000 ampere. So 20 divisions, how much current you require? You will require 20 divided by 30 into 1 by 1000. Unitary method. Unitary method we are using from our childhood. So 2 by 3 into 1 by 1000. So this much current should be there. Now voltage is fixed. So resistance you have to find. So current is 2 by 3000. Okay, if you do the simplification, 2 by 3000, and that should be equals to 3 divided by new resistance. Okay, so new resistance will be equals to 3 into 3000 divided by 2, which is 1500. So that means 4500. Now this is the total resistance. You have to subtract the galvanometer resistance from it to find the resistance that you have connected in series. So 4500 minus 50, which is 4450 ohm. So 4450 ohm is the resistance. So those who have answered C are correct. Okay, now let's move on. Streamline flow is more likely for liquids with high density and high viscosity, low density and low viscosity, high density, low viscosity, low density, high viscosity. Okay, so here streamline flow is basically when the liquid is moving very slowly and all the lines are moving in a parallel way. Okay, so it is basically all the lines are moving slowly in a parallel way, and they are basically flowing in the proper way, clean water. Okay, and it is generally observed for low density and low viscosity liquid. Okay, low density and low viscosity liquid generally shows streamline motion more likely than high viscous liquids, because high viscous liquid are like honey, so they will try to low density and high viscosity. Okay, low, if the density is low but it is very highly viscous, so they will not create turbulent motion. So low density, high viscosity. For one example is honey is not even though honey is highly viscous, its density is also very high. So that's why honey generally do not show normally do not show streamline motion. But if you take the honey, add it into the water, you reduce the density, then it has a high tendency of showing streamline motion. Okay, so that is one of the reason you increase the density, you decrease the density of a viscous liquid, then it is very likely to be showing you the streamline motion. Okay, so low density and high viscosity should be the answer. A very narrow capillary tube records a rise of 20 centimeter when dipped in water. I will take some questions later on. Let me finish some of the questions, because some of you want to study after the class. A very narrow capillary tube records a rise of 20 centimeter when dipped in water. When the area of cross section is reduced to 1/4 of the former value, water will rise to a height of so here we have So the water rise to a height of h. Area of cross section is given. Okay, now if you reduce the cross section, the water will rise to a higher height. Okay, and the height that it rises is basically h into area of cross section is basically a constant quantity for a given liquid. Okay, so here initially suppose the height is h, area of cross section is a, then it will rise to a height h. Now if you reduce the area to a by 2 or a by 4, then height is say capital H. So basically capital H will be 4 times h. Okay, so if initially it was 20 centimeter, then it will be 80 centimeter now. Okay, the height rises by the liquid. If you reduce the surface area or area of the cross section, then the rising in the height will be proportional to that. So basically it will be 80 centimeter. Okay, now next, if the terminal speed of a sphere of gold density 19.5 grams per cc is not 1, I think it will be 0.2 meter per second in a viscous liquid of density 1.5 gram per cc. Find the terminal speed of the sphere of silver density 10.5 gram per cc of the same size in the same liquid. Okay, now remember that terminal speed, you don't need to remember too much formula here. Terminal speed is proportional to difference in density. Okay, density of the solid minus density of the liquid. Okay, there is a 2 by 9 g by g is there. Okay, but you don't need to remember g by eta is there. Actually terminal velocity is given by 2 by 9, difference in velocity, difference in density, then there is a g divided by eta, but you don't need to remember all this stuff. You only remember that terminal velocity is proportional to difference in velocity. That is sufficient to solve it. So for suppose the terminal velocity for silver is VTS, terminal velocity for gold is VTG, then it will be difference in the density of silver. So silver's density is 10.5, okay, and liquid of density 1.5, density of gold is 19.5, density of liquid is 1.5. Okay, so this is the ratio. So VT of silver will be given by 9 divided by 18 into terminal velocity of gold. So that is half of gold. So gold has 0.2. If you divide by 2, it will get 0.1 meter per second. Okay, so correct answer is option A. Okay. Now next, an eye specialist prescribes spectacles having a combination of convex lens of focal length 40 centimeter, this is centimeter, in contact with concave lens of focal length 25 centimeter. The power of this combination is, so focal length of convex lens is 40 centimeter, focal length of concave lens is minus 25 centimeter. Okay, concave lens is negative. Okay, now we know that for power is basically 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. Now remember where focal length is given in meters. Because everything is given in centimeter, we will be using 100 by f1 plus 100 by f2. So what is 100 by f1? 100 by 40 minus 100 by 25. Okay, so don't make mistake, you have to take 100. So 0 0 cancels, you get 2.5 here, and here you get 4. So 2.5 minus 4, that is minus 1.5 diopter. So the equivalent power is minus 1.5 diopter. Individually you can calculate the powers and add it also, that is fine. But because we have much simpler formula, directly you can calculate, no need to go into the difficult calculations. Now next, the refracting index of a prism is A, and refractive index of the material of the prism is cot A by 2. Refracting angle of the prism is A, and refractive index is cot A by 2, the angle of minimum deviation. So refractive index is given by sine A plus delta by 2, delta minimum by 2, divided by sine A by 2. Now this is given as cot A by 2. So cot A by 2 means, cot means opposite of tan, so cos A by 2 divided by sine A by 2. So obviously sine A by 2 cancels, we get sine A plus delta by 2 equals to cos A by 2. Now you cannot cancel sine and cos until and unless you convert it into sine. How to convert cos to sine? It is basically 90 degrees minus theta, right? Complementary angle. So cos theta is equal to sine 90 minus theta. So that's how you can cancel. Now you can cancel the sine from both sides. So A plus delta by 2 equals to 90 minus A by 2. You multiply 2 with each and every term. You get A plus delta equals to 180 minus A. So you get A equals, delta equals to 180 minus 2A. Okay, this A goes to other side, so it becomes delta equals to 180 minus 2A. So correct answer is option A. Next, very interesting question. Student measures the focal length of a convex lens by putting an object pin at a distance u from the lens and measuring the distance v of the image pin. The graph between u and v plotted by the student should look like. So what should be the graph of u and v? Okay, so graph of u and v should look like this one. Why? First of all, you should always remember that u is negative. Okay, u is negative, and there is a Newton's equation where it can be shown that u into v is equals to actually constant. Okay, u into v is actually constant. Okay, u v equals to constant. U into v equals to constant. So uv constant means the graph will be a rectangular hyperbola. So because u is negative over here, you will get the graph like this. Okay, it is not this one but this one, because u is negative. Okay, remember u is negative, and u and v are not linearly related, they are related through a formula same as rectangular hyperbola, which is this. So this knowledge will help you to answer this question. Okay, even though most of the cases you have answered the question in the opposite side, but that should be your guide. Okay, now next question. A sonometer can be used to measure the frequency of the tuning fork. Yes, by the method of resonance you can do that. Measure the frequency of a stretched string. Yes, you can do that as well. Okay, measure the frequency of AC, you can use that as well. Okay, I think the third option will be A, B and C. A, B and C. Okay, third option should be A, B and C. So measure the frequency of stretched string, it is possible. Measure the frequency of AC is also possible. Okay, because we use that in our second PUC. So both A, B and C both are possible. Okay, now let's move on. The waves set up in a closed pipes are longitudinal and progressive, longitudinal and stationary, transverse and stationary, transverse and progressive. So the waves are stationary. Now even though we draw the diagram in closed pipe or open pipe, irrespective of the diagram that we draw is like that, you might think it is actually a transverse wave. Actually it is not a transverse wave, it is actually a longitudinal wave, because the waves that is being formed are sound waves. Sound wave means basically it is like this. So they are vibrating like this, but we are showing the diagram in the form of a transverse wave. So it is, remember that this is very tricky. The sound wave, waves set up in a closed pipe, open pipe, okay, any sound instrument, they are all longitudinal and stationary except stringed instrument. In case of stringed instrument, when they are vibrating, they are actually vibrating in the transverse way. So stringed instrument, the waves produced are transverse. In any air-based instrument, the sound is always longitudinal, because air can vibrate only like this. Air cannot vibrate like this. Next, a pendulum oscillates simple harmonically if and only if the size of the bob of the pendulum is negligible in comparison to the length of the pendulum. The angular amplitude is less than 10 degrees. So here remember that one very important approximation that we take during the motion of the pendulum, that this line is actually a straight line, and we say that if this is the length, this is the mass, and this angle is theta, we say that S is equal to R theta. Okay, and this formula is only valid if the angle is smaller than 10 degrees. Okay, this line, we take this as a straight line. So straight line approximation is only valid when this angle is less than 10 degrees. Otherwise it will be the curved length. Okay, if you go here, you cannot apply the approximation, and your formula that you use, that T is equal to 2 pi square root of L by G, this formula is not applicable for angles more than 10 degrees. So this is a correct statement. Size of the bob of the pendulum is negligible in comparison to the length of the pendulum. So that is also true. So the bob is very small. Okay, suppose you are doing the experiment with this much string and this big bob, then you will not be able to get your experiment correctly. Okay, so suppose someone said, I want to perform an experiment with this kind of setup, then your experiment will no longer be valid. So both statements 1 and 2 are correct. Both statements 1 and 2 are correct. Okay. Okay, now let's move on. In the PN junction experiment, sir, KCET under 100, I don't know. Yes, Sagar, that is the question, last question. In the PN junction experiment, to draw the IV graph of the diode, the voltmeter is connected across external resistance, the diode, the battery, none of the above. So PN junction experiment, to draw the IV graph of the diode, the voltmeter is connected across external resistance. Actually, you do not measure the voltage across the PN junction. So basically, when you connect the characteristic graph, okay, the voltage is measured across the external resistance, okay, and you measure the current as well, okay. Or actually it is not sorry, my mistake, it is not across the resistance, it is across the battery itself, okay. So that is what important. So current you calculate, external resistance value is known, so you can calculate the exactly how much voltage is applied over across the diode, okay. If you apply a voltmeter over here, you will not get any reading. It will show you a zero value, because the diode itself is very low resistance, okay. So it is across the battery, okay, or across the external resistance, but in that case you have to do a subtraction. So in the experiment, what you do, you change the voltage using your voltmeter, right? You change using the device that you are using, so it is across the battery itself, okay. Sorry, what is happening? Why my I don't understand why it is stopping. Sorry, my mobile is getting timed off from time to time. Okay, now time for some blocking. Sir, out of subject PCMB, they will where only count PCM marks, they about biology. So if you are applying for engineering, they will only count PCM. If you are applying from farm sciences, they will count PCMB for KCET exam as well as during your rank counseling. A semiconductor device is connected in a series circuit with the battery and resistance A, okay. So a semiconductor device is connected in a series circuit with the battery and resistance A. Current is found to pass through the circuit. If the polarity of the battery is reversed, the current drops to almost zero. The device may be a PN junction, a N-type semiconductor, a PN junction, a P-type, an N-type, a PN junction, and intrinsic semiconductor. Now P-type, N-type and intrinsic, they will not show any polarity based properties, okay. If they are carrying current in the forward in the one way, they will carry the current in the other way as well. But a PN junction, which acts as a valve, that means it allows the current to pass through only in one direction. So it will allow the current to pass through this direction, but it will not allow any current to pass in the opposite direction, okay. It will block it. So most likely the device is a PN junction. Identify the diodes which is or are in forward biased in the following set, okay. Okay, sorry guys, some messages are coming. Identify the diodes which is our forward bias. So how to identify a diode which are forward biased? So to identify, what you have to do, you need to find what is this voltage, what is this voltage. Is it bigger than this voltage? Yes. So this is a forward biased, okay. So 0 is bigger than -5, so that means it is a forward biased. What is the voltage here? 5. What is the voltage over here? 0. Is it bigger? It is bigger. So this is a forward biased. Now here the orientation is reversed, but our logic is always same. We will start with P side. P side is -2, N side is -7. So P side is bigger than N side, so this is also forward biased, okay. -2 is bigger than -7. Here P side is 2, N side is 3. So this is not forward biased, because in this case what happens is that 2 is smaller than 3. So this is a reversed bias condition. So from here we say that this is a reverse biased. So 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3 are forward biased. Fourth one is not forward biased. Okay. If the monochromatic source in Young's double slit experiment is replaced by white light, then interference pattern will disappear. There will be a central dark fringe surrounded by a few colored fringes. There will be a central bright white fringe surrounded by a few colored fringes. All bright fringes will be equal width. So basically, if you replace in Young's double slit experiment, if the monochromatic light is replaced by white light, what happens? Sir, tell all types of connection, please. What connection? Sagar? Fifteenth question. Okay, choco chip. Let me go back. What is 15th question? Okay, so 15th question, basically you are, what you do in the, remember the experiment. So you have a diode. Okay, you have a diode. This is basically an experiment based question. You have the diode. Here you connect the ammeter. Ammeter basically measures the current which is flowing in the circuit. You have a limiting resistance so that the diode does not get burned. Okay. Now what you do, you change the voltage, right? You change the voltage itself and you measure that voltage, because the voltage measuring thing is there directly within your voltmeter. Okay, now you can do one more thing. You can add a voltmeter over here. Okay, you can directly measure how much current is being passed, and based on that you can find the difference in voltage. That will give you the voltage that is actually applied across the diode. Okay, but if you directly apply the voltmeter across the diode, you will not be able to get the voltage across the diode, because diode itself has no voltage of its own, no resistance of its own. So the voltage drop across the diode will not be shown over here, but the voltage that you are applying across the diode, that can be measured by measuring voltage across these two devices. Okay, so external resistance and the battery together. But you may not need to apply a voltmeter over here, because current you are anyway measuring, resistance value is anyway known. So you can do that. You can actually fix the first time when the diode starts conducting, that voltage you can note. Okay, and you can start subtracting that. So you don't need to measure the voltage across the resistance as well. Only resistance that you measure is across the battery itself. Okay, the battery voltage you are varying. Battery voltage is not constant. You are actually changing the battery voltage. Okay, so you have to apply a voltage measuring device across here. Sometimes what happens is that you do it like this based on different types of experiment. Battery voltage is fixed. Okay, battery is fixed, and you apply a variable resistance. So in that case, the combination of battery and resistance across which you should apply the voltage, and you should consider this variable resistance as a part of the battery itself. Okay, and then you can measure the voltage. So it should be across the battery for a diode. Okay. So monochromatic source, if you replace monochromatic source, I did not get your question, Sagar. You said all type of something. I did not get your point. So if the monochromatic source in Young's double slit experiment is replaced by white light, you will get a central bright fringe, okay, surrounded by few colored fringes. Okay, so what happens is that, so this is the white color, this is the white color. Now this is also having all 7 colors, this is also having all 7 colors. So when they are going at the central fringe, okay, all the path difference are same, so you will get a central bright fringe. Central fringe is always maximum fringe, so all the path differences are same. Now depending upon different path differences, you will get some some colored fringe for few of the fringes. Remaining fringes, they will all overlap and you will start getting white again. Okay, so the fringe width will disappear after few length, but you will get some colored fringes for a small region, and then you will start getting white fringes. Okay, so correct answer is there will be a central bright fringe always surrounded by a few colored fringes. An unpolarized light of intensity I is passed through two Polaroids kept one after another with their planes parallel to each other. The intensity of light emerging from the second Polaroid is 1/4. The angle between the pass axis of the Polaroid is. So unpolarized light, intensity I, it is not 1/4, it is I/4. Okay, pass through two Polaroids. So this is Polaroid number 1, this is Polaroid number 2. Intensity of light incident here is I. Light exiting here is I/4. Okay, so the angle is theta. So we know that after first Polaroid, light which is coming out is I/2. So unpolarized light going through a filter, first reduction happens is I/2. Second reduction happens on this surface based on Malus law. What is Malus law? Malus law says that the incoming light is here I/2 into cos square theta. Cos square theta is the angle between the Polaroids. That should give you the final intensity. Final intensity is given here. So I cancels and you get cos square theta equals to half, or cos theta equals to 1/√2. That is theta equals to 45 degrees. Okay. Now Malus law based questions are very common in KCET. The radius of curvature of the curved surface of a plano-convex lens is 20 centimeter. If the refractive index of the material of the lens be 1.5, it will act as a convex lens only for the object that is. Okay, I think this is the last question. This is the last question. Okay, the radius of the curvature of the curved surface of a plano-convex lens is 20 centimeter. If the refractive index of the material of the lens be 1.5, it will act as a convex lens only if the object that is on its curved surface. So let us see. So it is a curved surface. Okay, so one side is the radius of curvature, this side is r, radius of curvature this side is infinity. Okay, this is minus r, right? Plano-convex lens. Now this is not minus r, this is plus r. Now if they are saying that if the light is falling on this, will it act as a convex lens? Obviously it will act as a convex lens. Now let's figure out what would happen if you keep the lens like this. If you keep the lens like this, what would happen to the lens? So now the light is falling on the plane side first, and then it is going onto the curved surface. So let's figure out the sign of the focal length. If focal length is positive, then it will be a convex lens no matter what you are doing it. If it is if the sign is negative, then it will be a concave lens. So first surface is this. What is the radius of curvature for this surface? Radius of curvature is infinity. Second surface is this. Second surface has a radius of curvature minus r. So let us find the lens maker's equation. 1/f equals to 1.5 minus 1, which is obviously there. Now first surface is 1/infinity minus r. So you are getting 0.5 by r. So again it is positive. Positive means it will still behave as convex lens. Okay, so if you switch the side, basically what the question is, this is the lens. If you switch it, will it behave like a convex lens? No. If you switch the lens like this lens was like this, if you change the direction, orientation of the lens will still remain a convex lens. The lens still remain a convex lens. Okay, So it will act as a convex lens irrespective of the side on which the object lies. Now I have shown this through a calculation. You don't need to do the calculation. Just remember that if you switch the side of the lens, it does not change its property. The lens property of the lens depends on the material and radius of curvature, not how it is oriented. Orientation of the lens does not change the fact that what lens it will be. Okay, now let's see, Sagar Chopra, what is your question? You are saying some method. Nagaraj, hi Nagaraj, after a long time, sir, I am 0 level. If I watch in this video, how much marks I will get? Nagaraj, why you are saying you are 0 level? You should score, if you watch this video, 30, 35 maximum, you can score. Okay. Sir, all types of connection, what connection? Sir, could you revise logic gates in short? Mrudula K. Mrudula K, logic gate is out of syllabus. If you are solving logic gates from your previous year papers, the book is not updated. You should not waste time on logic gates. No question is going to come from logic gates. Okay, logic gates is out of syllabus, it is deleted. So for KCET exam, no deleted portion is part of the syllabus. Whatever is part of the syllabus, that exactly is the syllabus. Okay, so deleted portions are not covered in the KCET. Deleted portions are there in JEE, deleted portions are there in NEET, JEE Advanced as well, but for KCET, no deleted portions are there. So don't worry if you are not able to solve logic gates. Logic gates are easy. I would love to help you with the logic gates, but don't waste time on that. Trisha, we will be solving another 50 questions tomorrow with slide theory revision. Okay, slide theory revision, we will be solving more questions. Does 42 marks are guaranteed from second PU, right sir? Please reply. Ullas Yadgiri. So Ullas, those who want to know the paper pattern, 40 questions from second PU, okay, 20 questions from first PU. Okay, now out of these 40 questions, 38 from theory, 2 from practicals. Out of these 20 questions, 19 from theory, 1 from practicals. We have solved some of the practical questions in this lecture, and there may be directly practical laboratory based questions they might ask, or they might ask from the precautions of the laboratory based experiment as well. Okay, so remember this, if you only study theory of second PU, you will get 38 questions. If you study a little bit of practicals, if you are able to figure out the practicals, you will get 2. But don't worry too much, because in the 19 questions that you are going to get from your PU1, approximately what I have seen, 10 questions are easy. 10 questions are relatively easy and solvable. Okay, so and remaining in 38 questions, 30 questions are generally easy. Okay, remaining practicals and remaining questions can be slightly trickier, but if you focus on this 30 and 10, 40 marks you can score without much difficulty. Okay. Mrudula, could you make a video revising all important formula? See, revising all important formula through a lecture, I think is not super helpful for all of you. I have made a video where I have revised 3 chapter formulas. Remaining chapters I given you as your PDF. Please go through it. PDFs are available in our WhatsApp channel. It was shared in the morning. It was shared yesterday also. It is available in physics rank booster series. From there you can download the PDF, you can go through it once. Okay, tomorrow I will be revising some of the important chapter formulas for important chapters, not for all chapters, please. Okay, so this is the end of today's lecture. As promised, it is over by 7. So let me save the file first, and tomorrow 10 AM sharp I will be here. Please have your first, solid breakfast and be there. Okay, also day after tomorrow, that is day before exam, at 6 AM 6:30 AM I will also take a 1 hour live, 1 hour 1.5 hour live, so that you can revise just before exam some quick formulas, quick shortcuts, that also I will revise. Okay, See you tomorrow. Till then, bye.